Yeah. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I like that, right? It's kind of bouncy. Kind of real good. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to Tales from a Gemini. It's BT. Man, I'm so excited for the guest today. I'm not even going to any. That was an abrupt music stop. Right? You didn't even fade. You just like, boom, you just stopped it. No, it's okay, man. I mean, you can't go back. It was in a abrupt. It didn't like just stop. It was like if you were a DJ and you were at a club, it'd be like you would suck. How come? Why? Oh, he be cut? Yeah, he be cut. Yeah. I mean, like fired that night, like right then and there. Yeah, get him out of here. Peace. See you later. Seriously. But anyway, so my guest today, I'm so excited. I talked to Steffi Bow last week. I talked to her. We talked about this girl, and I was like, yeah. I mean, it was an inspiration, and she was an inspiration, and I was like, she'd be good for the show. And then I was going through, and I go, yeah, she really would. And when we finally got it together yesterday around this time, yesterday, I hit Steffi up and said, hey, man, you get in contact with her and tell her that I'm gonna contact her because she's underage and not so much that she doesn't know me. This is one of the few interviews I don't know this person from Adam. I know of her. She doesn't know me, and so that's a weird kind of thing to go into. Like, hey, if you don't know me, and I'm really hard to, I come on really aggressive, and so it's like really, I'm hard to, like, whoa, like, whoa, bro, slow your roll, you know what I mean? And that's just who I am. And I'm not being a jerk or whatever. It's just if you don't know me, I'm like, "Ah-da-da-da," I'm all in your face, you know what I mean? That's if I like you though. If I don't give a shit about you. Then it's like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? But if I don't, and then it's like almost like Isaac. When Isaac came in just a while ago, I like that dude, man. What you do a lot of things, bro. All right, man, whatever. That could be the way he said. I do a lot of things, bro. You don't want to know. Like, all right, but one of them kind of dudes like whatever you need, I'll be right back. You know what I mean? He'll get it for you. You know what I mean? I like that guy. Hey, Isaac, man, I need a gun. Let me make a phone call. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? You get that gun. He's that kind of guy. But he's good though. He's good though. He's good. I like that guy. I like the guy. Here's your timer. So we're gonna get your our guest here. Our guest is Tanya Muzinda. She's from Zimbabwe. She's a motocross racer from Zimbabwe, and her story is incredible. I can't. I'm not doing it justice. I'm gonna let her say it, and I just have a feeling she is going to talk circles around me, or just the way Africans talk, and just it's a really kind of It's hard to say it, but it's like they talk with such elegance. You know what I mean? And such like it's hard to describe it, but it's like. Oh, you know what I mean? Like Africans and African Americans are so different. Like I mean, they really are. It's like you respect Africans more. Like they have a certain kind of. Why do you talk the way you do? That is disrespectful. You're like, yeah, you're right. But American blacks are like, yeah, man, let me take. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? They're like, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder, like, if Africans get shot by the police at a lower rate than African Americans in America. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know why I pulled you over? Officer, I must have been speeding. Is that why you give me? I saw you. How are you? We saw you walking down the street. I just want to say you look beautiful. We saw you, and I mean it respectful, beautiful. I mean that. Have a great day. Man, she's beautiful. And I mean it from the bottom of her. She is beautiful. We saw her walking. Anyway, let's get my guest here. Let's get my guest. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Let's get my guest here on the show. You send her the link? Did you send her the link? Okay, she should be. Okay, I got my. Okay, so click the link. Okay. I'm scared too. I really am. Like I'm hoping it works. But like I said, I wonder if Africans get pulled over. I mean, get shot at a lower rate than African Americans. I mean, you know what I mean? Because they probably respect us in a different way than you know what I mean? It's like, officer, you pulled me over for a reason. I was speeding. Listen, man, don't be an asshole about it. But you know what? I did see this video of these cops fucking with this dude from Africa, and turns out he was an undercover. He was an FBI agent. Yeah, man, he cussed them out. Here we go. Here we go. This is it. This is it. Oh, that's always my favorite part of this. I love this. Come on, here we go. Here we go. Here you go, Tanya. Tanya, how are you? Can you hear me? Oh, I can't. We can't hear you yet. We can't hear you yet.
Okay, sorry, it was muted.
30. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Oh, great. First of all, thank you so much. I was telling the guys here that, I don't know you. I've never met you. You don't know me. And I know if people that don't know me and you're doing something I love like motocross, I'm so in your face that I'm hard to handle at first. So just bear with me and I'll be real palpable. So I'm gonna be really like, like this, but just
Okay.
let's ease into it. First of all, happy belated birthday. You just turned 16. So happy
Yeah,
birthday.
thank you so much.
And what did you do? What did you do for your birthday? What did you do for your birthday?
For my birthday, I went and I tested my new bike that I recently got like about a month ago, and it had actually been about 2 years since I had a bike. So that was like one of the best things that happened to me on my birthday.
Oh my, you got a motorcycle on your birthday.
Yeah.
That is the greatest. I got one on my birthday when I was 8 years old. That's the greatest birthday present ever. And you got a brand new motorcycle on your birthday. Were you like, did you know you were going to get it or was it a surprise?
Oh, I knew I was gonna get it,
Oh.
but the person who bought it, I only found out like 2 days before that I was actually getting the bike.
Oh, that is awesome. So happy birthday. I'm so happy for you. Now we're going to get to your story. I wanted to just like touch base with you first. And before I forget, and we're going to get to it, you were just selected. You were honored. You made the short list for Nickelodeon Kid of the Year for 2020. Oh my God. You are killing it. You are killing it. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You're such an inspiration. I guess we should just get off into the show. I wanted, like I said, first of all, I had to ease into who I am. 'Cause like I said, you don't know me, so I want to say thank you again. So let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Harare, Zimbabwe, right?
Harare, Zimbabwe,
I said that.
yes.
I said that right, didn't I?
Pardon?
I said that right, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Look at that. See, I studied. I studied. I saw how you said it. So I said Harare, Zimbabwe. And here's the story that I want to know. Now, your dad was in the motorcycles and the motorsports. And then you came along. You're the oldest of the kids. You came along. And the story goes he took you to a go kart track, got you a go kart and then you rode go-karts and then you fell in love with motorcycle racing with motocross
Yeah.
specifically. So and
Yeah.
all the stories are that you fell in love with motocross racing and then there goes the story, but I want to know what was it about motorsports and motorcycles in general that made you fall in love? What was it when you got on that motorcycle you were like, oh my god, this is the love?
Well, obviously, since I started when I was 5, I wasn't like really open-minded about it. I just loved racing, just the speed, the adrenaline that you get from riding, and I've always been a fan of speed. I always loved cars and bikes since a young age. And as I grew up older, I've also seen that it's not a sport that a lot of people talk about. When you talk about tennis, you think of Serena Williams. When you think about basketball, you think of Michael Jordan.
Right.
And when you talk about motocross, you don't really know a lot of people who do motocross. Some people don't even know what it is.
Right.
And I'm trying to raise more awareness and actually put it on the map. I know that there's some great motocross riders out there, and I'd also like to be part of them.
But it's such a young age, so you started riding at 5 years old, right? Correct.
Yes.
Okay, at 5 years old. Now, did you even watch TV and watch motocross, or you got a motorcycle and you go and you got on and said, "This is the love I have." I mean, did you watch it before you got on? And at 5, how can you even remember at 5? That was only 11 years ago. That
Yeah.
was only 11 years ago. How can you even remember that? I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, my dad, he had his motorcycle, so I didn't really watch it on TV. I just grew up seeing my dad riding the bike, and there were even times when I'd hear my dad's bike, and I'd know that, oh, dad's home, and I'd run to him and then make sure that he puts me on his bike. So I just experienced that. So I think that was kind of like TV, but it was live TV to me.
Okay, now you say that now. Was that a way of getting close to your dad? Were you always close to your dad anyway before that? And that was a way of getting closer, or was it like it was like a combination of like the best of both worlds? You love your dad, and he's got a motorcycle, and I get a motorcycle. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was both.
Oh, that's okay. So, and I got to give credit to your father because now I don't know the ways in your country. I don't know how things go. I know things are different in every country, but I'm assuming this, and correct me if I'm wrong, that in your country it's more of a patriarch where it's like men rule and women are play a subservient role. I mean, I don't know this, so I'm asking. And so for your dad to allow you to race motorcycles, to allow you, that is so progressive. And I want to hats off. That's why I was hoping he was going to be on because I wanted to celebrate him for what he did, having a daughter and having her race motorcycles. Because I think the story was your friend invited you to the track and he didn't know that you were a girl. And you went there, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, and so he goes, well, I gotta let her go now because I already invited. So, what's your dad's philosophy on that? Did he feel like you could do anything because you're a girl? Did he ever say anything like that to you, or did he ever try to hold you back?
Oh, my dad is actually here with me.
Oh, there. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. You're going to get me in trouble. Hello, Father. How are you?
Hey, buddy, how's it?
Um, you just surprised me. Your daughter just surprised me. Man, that
I
was
thought I thought she was gonna introduce me, but I saw you guys were flowing, so I didn't want to disturb the flow.
Man, that was the scariest thing. It's like she set me up. By the way, my dad's here. Talk to him, huh? So okay, well, let me talk to you. I think that is the most beautiful thing in the world, and I say that because it shouldn't be overlooked. Like I said, in Africa, and I know even in America. When somebody has a daughter, they don't think to put them on a motorcycle the first thing. I mean, you know what I mean, and ride their daughter around, and let their daughter go on a motorcycle, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So for you to do that, like, what was your thinking behind it? Or did you think nothing of it? Or you just wanted your daughter to have a free mind and find her love in an organic way?
Yeah, but you see, basically what happens here in America, it's better, but in Africa, it's deep rooted. Do you understand?
Right,
Because if you look at the history of men were very important
right.
in the society
Uh-huh.
because of work that needed to be done. Like remember, families they relied mostly in agriculture. So men would go to the fields,
Uh-huh.
you see. But now, because for Tanya, it's a very special case to me. It's very sentimental because from my forefathers, they only had their first kid as a boy.
Okay.
Do you understand? So I was the first to have a firstborn. Because I'm a firstborn myself. So as a firstborn, I was the first one to have a girl. So even my dad was not very impressed with that, at
Okay.
first. Yeah, but he's the biggest supporter of Tanya now because everyone is always like, Tanya's uncle. You know what I'm saying? But I remember when Tanya was born, she was actually furious to say. And then I looked at him and I was like, but did I choose to have a girl? You understand?
Yeah.
But I didn't see any reason that he should be angry. But then when I then try to look back, and then I realized it had to do with a patriarchal society. You
Right.
understand?
Yes, definitely.
So that also gave me the power to say, okay, fine. So let's see what this girl brings to the world. Do you
Right.
understand?
Yes.
Let her go, let her do what she wants to do. But because I wanted always my kids to participate in sport, but because the issue of the bike, because Tanya's dream was actually made possible when I sold my bike, because that's when I bought Tanya's bike.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So when I was riding with my boys, I remember one guy, probably, we'll get a chance sometime to interview him. I remember we were talking, the two of us, and I was like, I want my daughter to ride also like me, you know.
Yeah.
But pushing girls, it made me a lot of enemies. It made me having less friends because when you get your girl to the track and she's beating the boys, you will not have good friends. Do you
Yes.
understand? Yeah,
Yes.
because
And she.
I remember one white guy in Zimbabwe. He actually confronted me to say, "What you are doing is wrong to our kids." I was like, "What am I doing?" He's like, "No, our kids now they're getting confused." But I was like, "It's just because of what you are teaching kids at home. If you teach your kids to say a sports person is a sports person, they will not mind. But because these white kids, they had a maid who is a black, a female maid is got a black gardener. So probably in their head they were like thinking to say, so if this maid can have a baby, so if they come to the track, they can beat us up. It was quite scary. Yeah. So yeah, but I just I love my kids and I love Tanya. She's my best. I actually got three girls and one boy.
I,
So they should fly. You know what I'm saying? They
I,
should fly.
I think I cannot understate how incredible that is because like I said, like I can only imagine. I don't know your situation in Africa. I have an idea, but I don't know because I'm not there. But the fact of knowing, just let's say you're the oldest, the firstborn is a female, and you sold your bike for your daughter. You made that sacrifice for her to go to the track and start beating the boys. I take my hat off to you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That was part of the story that just I love families who are families and they do stuff together. And obviously my love is motorsports. I mean, that's in my heart. It always has been. And I can't understand somebody who gets a motorcycle and who doesn't fall in love. I can't see that. So I understand the love part. But the fact that, I mean, the firstborns are female in a country like Zimbabwe, and you let your daughter, I mean, you say to your daughter, and she let her find her passion, and her passion was motorcycles, and it grew from there. Sir, I cannot commend you enough for that. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. There's no fakeness there. That is to me incredible. So hats off to you. But back to your daughter. So now you beat the boys. Now at that young of an age, did you realize how big of a deal it was to beat the boys, or was it like a thing where you were a kid and you didn't really understand?
When I was young, I didn't really understand. I only started to understand when I started losing friends as well. Even like, although I've been at the same motocross track, at the same community, I actually don't have friends there because most of the guys they actually have this grudge against me because it's not from them, it's from their fathers. They tell them, how can you let a girl beat you? I thought boys are stronger than girls, and that mentality and just getting shouted at from your parents, it will obviously make you feel like, why is she doing this? Why is she here? So I've actually started to grow onto it and just realize that there's really nothing I can do about it.
Now, did that when you found that out, but did it make you almost, did it spur a fire in you to really go, okay, I'm going to beat you now? Now that you see I'm a girl and you say that girl should be, did it make you go, okay, I'll really show you I can beat you? Did it really spur you and really inspire you more after that?
Yeah, it really did. Especially before the races, some of them might even come and say, if I see you next to me, I'm gonna make sure I get you off the track. And to me, they might think they're discouraging me, but to me, it's actually like a motivation to make sure that I beat you.
That is so beautiful. I love hearing that. So now, where does that come from? Where does that innate competition in you, that motivate? Where does that come from? Does it come from your parents, or is it something that's organic inside you? Where do you get it from your mom? Do you get it from your dad, or both parents, or where does that come from?
I think it came from myself. I've always been competitive, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm just playing with my siblings or even in class. I've always been competitive and wanting to do the best that I can. And even I also got an influence from my parents who always want the best for me. And I guess it's just a 50-50.
I think that is beautiful. Like I said, I love a family that stays together through sports because motocross is such a it's a different sport in a sense of you have to sacrifice so much. And sometimes it draws a wedge in between the families. I know there's some families, they sacrifice all they can for their kids to be successful. And if it doesn't work, then there's that wedge. And sometimes that wedge is never repaired, or it takes a while to repair. So, and I have to give you credit for that. Now let's fast forward to you going to, went to the British Championships, right? Correct? I think it was 2012 or 13.
2017.
2017. Oh, okay. 2017. You went to the British Championships, and you and now your first time, or your first time overseas racing.
Yeah, it was my first time.
Now, talk me into that. Or were you nervous? Did you have that back of your mind? Am I good enough? Or did you know you were good enough? Or what were the butterflies like? What was your feelings going into in the British Motocross Championships?
I was so nervous. I remember even before we even left the airport, I was so nervous because coming from Africa, my dad was the one who was training me. Was been training on the one bike, the same track, same bike, and same things all the time. And comparing with people in Europe, they have trainers, they have three bikes, they have different tracks, they have tracks at their own houses, they have nutrition, they have a diet, and they have all these things that I don't have. So obviously, I was very intimidated and I was scared, and I really thought that I was just hoping to end up in the top 20. That's
Right?
what my ultimate goal was.
Yeah.
And when we actually got to the track and I finished on my first race, I finished, I think it was 14th or 17th, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And I was actually quite happy and I was proud of myself. Even my parents were like, well done. And then at the end of the race, I was now finishing in the top three. And to me,
Wow.
I was shocked and it was so overwhelming.
Now, what point was it where you go, you know what, I'm just as good as these people? Because there's a certain point where there are those butterflies and you start realizing, but there's a point where in the middle of the competition, I don't know, was it during the middle or was it maybe afterwards where you were doing your best? You go, you know what? I'm just as good as these people, or maybe even better. And then that confidence starts to grow. So when did that confidence grow? Was it after the race, during the race, maybe at the start? When did it start to grow? When did you realize I'm just as good as these people?
My confidence grew during the race when we were all at the start gate and the race started, and I was actually passing these people, and I couldn't believe it. And I could see the person who was in first position right in front of me, and I was so shocked. Like I thought maybe I was asleep or I was dreaming, and I'm actually passing the person who's first, and that just boosted my confidence. Even finishing in the top 10 when I first finished in the top 10, it boosted my confidence so much. And I just believed in myself that I'll be able to do this just the same way as they're doing it.
That is beautiful to hear. That is great. It had to be a great confidence booster. But here's the thing that amazed me is that it costs so much. Like I said, to do this sport, it costs so much that you say you go for maybe a couple months without even riding because it's so expensive and you can't afford to do it.
Yeah, that's actually, it has been about 2 years since I ever rode.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, what was that period like? Were you depressed? Were you like, I can't wait to ride? I mean, what was it like?
It was really depressing and it was so sad. Sometimes I'd even say, am I really gonna get back on the bike? But my parents, like, they've always been there to encourage me and support me. And it's just a feeling that I feel that quite a number of people go through. You might, for example, you might lose your job and not go to work for about 6 months. And even in Africa, some kids they don't go to school for the whole life because they can't afford to go to school. So I think it's a feeling that I think I can relate to with a lot of people.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, the stuff we take for granted, especially over here, and which I'll get to later, of course, but I find that unbelievable. And now let's go with your meeting Steffi Bow because I talked to Steffi last week, and your name came up, and I knew of your story. I'm on Instagram, so I knew of your story. I said, "Wow, that's great." I looked at it, I go, "Man, that's great. That's awesome." And then I talked to Steffi, and I know your dad hit Steffi up, and it just for some reason when I met Steffi, I was the same way. I was like, "Oh my God, I love this woman. Her story captivated me." I met her in person a couple years ago in Valencia, Spain. And we just were inseparable. Like, I love this woman. So we were talking last week. Your name came up, and she told me the story, which I thought was funny. How your dad emailed her, and she goes, "Africa, yeah, whatever." And she deleted. He said, emailed her again. Said delete. And she goes, "You know what? This might be true. So let me read this." And so when she found out it was a true story, she said she was over there like that and gave me some gear, and it was an instant, like just bond. So tell me tell me how that went about. How did your dad even know about Steffi, Dad? How did you know about Steffi and to email her and keep your fingers crossed like maybe she can help my daughter? How did that come about?
Okay. Yeah, but you see, what happened was, besides being a father, but I'm also a businessman because I believe that life is a business because as long as you pay for something, it's a business, it's a transaction.
Yes.
It's all transactional. So I was just thinking about myself to say, okay, this sport that Tanya is now into, it's an international sport, really. It's not a Zimbabwean sport. It's not an African sport. You see.
Right.
So what should I do? So I thought of applying for a scholarship for her. But she was only 8 years old when I thought about that.
Wow. Well, you were thinking ahead, Dad. You were thinking ahead.
There was no way that she was going to get a scholarship. You understand? Yeah, but that just triggered the search for Stacey. That is how we started. So we started to look for scholarships. So we then got in touch with some lady, and then this lady, she's like, scholarship. I don't know. I don't think so. But I can get you in touch with a certain woman. She might help you. And then she led us to Steffi. So when I emailed Steffi, at first she thought it was a scam because I mean, how can this African guy talks about getting an 8-year-old daughter? You understand? This is the scam. You understand? Yeah, because it's crazy. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So she then responded after some time, and then we started to talk. You
Right.
understand?
Yes.
So she realized, okay, probably I was quite serious because I remember those days Tanya was not even, maybe I think we had a Facebook page, I think,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, but there was not much story of Tanya. So we started to talk with Steffi. So our idea was to come to the US. So we're all excited to go to the US with my little daughter. You understand?
Yes.
So yeah. So when Steffi started to talk to us, I was excited to say, finally, we can now go to the US, blah, 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 blah. So now Steffi was like, okay, Polika, listen, I get what you want to do, right? You want your daughter to get the best mentorship, the best, advice as far as the sport is concerned, which is a good thing.
Yes.
They started it earlier, although she was now 8 years, but we started 3 years ago with Tanya. So what then happened was Stacey then broke some very bad news for us. Not bad, but it was the greatest news. She's like, all right, I don't think you need to come to the US. Then I was like, what are you talking about? And then she said, I should come there so that I can train here in your own environment. Then I was like, wow.
Oh my gosh.
It makes sense what she's talking about. She's like, if she comes to the US now, the kids your age are super fast that it will break your confidence.
Right.
That's what she told me. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's rather I come in your environment where she's comfortable, where she sees her parents, the track that she knows. That way I can have a successful relationship
Yes.
with her. Then we were like, okay, that's fine. So let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Then, Stacey was in Zim for the first time. Probably it was the second time that she was in Africa, but she was also a director of FIM,
Yes.
FIM, the Federation of Motorcycle.
Yes.
So I think she went for a seminar or something in Cape Town, South Africa. But so she was in Zim, and we met Stacey at the airport. The drums, everyone was there, the media, everyone. It was crazy because Zimbabwe has not received a 4 times world champion, a world champion for the past like 10 years. So Steffi was, it was crazy because even her, she was like, what? Motocross is not accepted like, in the US. No one will look at you if you do motocross. They're like, okay. They look at Jay-Z, they look at the Kardashians, they look at those
yeah, the Kardashians.
But not a dead bike. You ride a dead bike, then what? You understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Steffi was there, so all the drums, the traditional drums in the airport, and Steffi was with him. And then that is how we became family. So now, Steffi, we are family.
That is, yeah, and well, and like I said, once you meet Steffi, you can't help but fall in love with her, man. She's just the greatest, one of the greatest women I've ever met, one of the greatest people I've ever met. So now, when she trained you, though, was there a time when you were like, I don't, I mean, how did it step up? Were you like, wow, so this is what it takes to be a champion when she trained you?
Well, Steffi, she was actually really nice. She wasn't like very aggressive and very like scary. She always made training really fun.
Uh huh.
She even made like fun snacks for me. Like she introduced peanut butter and jelly to me. I didn't know how
You never knew what peanut butter and jelly sandwich was. You
to.
never knew what a peanut butter and oh my god, that is one of the greatest meals in American history. Is peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, even the police will feed you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich here. That's how great of a meal that is. It's one of the greatest meals in American history. So she fed you your first peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Oh my god! And were you like, oh my god? Were you like turned on by it?
Yeah, I actually really liked it. Like even sugar and it.
Oh my God. I love it. You know what? That's another thing we take for granted, something like that. And here you are saying you got introduced to your first peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That is incredible. So now are you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich fiend now? Is that your thing now?
Yeah, it's my thing. Yeah,
Okay,
actually.
okay. Crunchy or smooth? Crunchy or smooth?
Hmm.
There- okay, do you toast the bread or just regular bread?
Oh, just regular bread.
Oh, here's what you got to do. Here's the way I do. Here's the way I do mine. Toast the bread, toast it. Okay, wheat bread, toasted, peanut butter first, then the jelly, and then syrup. What?
Oh.
What? Yes. Yeah. So that's the new version from here on out. From here on, I want you to try it at least once. Dad, you too. I want you to toast wheat bread, toast it, put the peanut butter on it. Okay, and it's gonna be warm. It's going, and then you put the jelly on it, and then put a little bit of syrup. Oh, what? What? I'm telling you, you are going to enjoy. And then you're gonna go, BT. You're gonna go, Steffi. And then you're going, BT. Trust me on that. Peanut butter and jelly, toast the bread, peanut butter and jelly, and then serve. Trust me, it's going to elevate your game to a whole new level. You'll be a world champion in no time, all because of me and the peanut butter. And jelly. Okay, so Steffi trained you, and did you feel your game go up after that? I mean, did you feel your writing elevate after that?
Yeah, it definitely did. It really improved so much, and she even left us training tips that after she left, we were actually like improving in areas that I wasn't really good in. My dad knew what things to tell me on, what to talk about, what to teach me about, and it really helped so much. And at the same time, we could always call her and send her videos, and she'd give us more tips. So she was really a big impact on my career.
Okay, okay. Now, what weren't you like strong in? What areas were you kind of weak in that she helped you?
So in motocross, we have this thing called the seven position that you stand like a seven on your bike, and you need to be in that correct form, and you need to squeeze the bike. And I know Steffi, she's always shouting at me, saying, "Why don't you squeeze the bike all the time?" So that's an area that even up until now I'm still struggling with. But if it wasn't for Steffi, I wasn't going to be able to know about those things, about the seven position, and even keeping my elbows up, always keep my head up, and not look at the tire, always to look at the next corner. And yeah,
Wow, that's great to hear. Okay, so now let's talk about coming over here. When you came, when did you first come over to the United States to race?
oh, my first time coming here was 2018 in November.
And what did you think coming to the United States for the first time? For the first, and where did you go? Was it in Florida? Was it California? Where'd you go?
It was in Orlando.
Okay, now was that to live or was that just the first time just to race?
Oh, it was my first time just to race.
What did you think of coming to America for the first time? Or your first
Uh,
thought?
it was exactly what I saw in the TV, but actually I was seeing it live. Even like the air is so different. Everything was just so different, and everything was so big. There were so many people. There were Asians, Mexicans, Caucasians, Black people, Black Americans, and so many like different foods that we I've never seen, different cars. so many animals in the road as well.
So many animals in the road, which I think is hilarious because no offense coming from, I would think in Africa you would see more animals in the road, but you but you come to America you see more animals in the road. I think that's hilarious. So basically, Orlando is like Africa light, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what did you think of the competition when you came over to race? What did you think of the competition? Was it better than it was when you raced in the British Championships?
Yeah, I'd have to say that American competition is way bigger than the United Kingdom. There were so many different riders, and there were even more girls in the United States than in the United Kingdom. And even the competition this side is way more faster. I think that is because most trainers and most professionals come from America, not really from England. So I think, and again, that's where everyone wants to go. Even people in England, they all wanted to come to America to race.
Now, are you a Supercross fan or a motocross fan?
Personally, I love motocross, but I love to watch supercross as well.
Okay. Now, I know one of your idols in motocross was Tony Caroli.
Yes, that's true.
Now, okay, now, uh, when you came over to America, did you know about the Stewarts, or were they ever your idols or whatever, or was it always Caroli first?
I knew about the students. Yeah, I knew about them, and it was always my dream to meet them. And I was lucky. I actually met Tony Caroli through Steffi, and I remember. No, Steffi remembers that. I know Steffi remembers that I was actually sweating. I told her that is it hard in here because I was really, really nervous to meet him, and even through James Stewart, it was through Steffi and another partner of ours. So yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. So, are you still a big Caroli fan? Are you still a big Tony Caroli fan?
yes, I am. Yeah.
What was it about him that made you go, oh my God, this guy right here? Because I know I've had fans. I mean, growing up, I had my idols too, and sometimes you can't explain it. You go, that's my favorite. You know what I mean? For some reason, maybe it's the color of their bike or how they. Sometimes it's the hair that comes out of their, the helmet or whatever. So, what was it about Tony Caroli that made you go, okay, he's my favorite?
I think just something you can't explain, like him just being the best that he is,
Yeah.
and even the way he rides, he does it so effortlessly. Even when he falls, he barely falls. Even the way he jumps, just you can't really explain it. You just see someone and you say, "Yeah, that's my
That's my
favorite."
yeah, exactly. Like, that's my favorite. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. Even to this day, as a grown man, there's some riders I go, okay, that's my favorite. That's my, and I can't explain why. I just go, I love that guy. It's like one of my favorites in MotoGP is Maverick Vinales. And I don't know why, but I love Maverick, and that's one of my favorite. And I will defend him to the end. I just love the guy, and I don't know why, but I just love the guy. So, and that's also a question I was going to ask you. I was going to leave to the end, but I'm going to ask you now. I know your love is motocross, and I know what your goals are, or whatever. But they even back in the day, they always said if you really want to make money, 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 you go to road racing. Has road racing ever been like a maybe a thought for you, or maybe you something you might want to give a try? Because I was talking. Is it ever intrigued you to try road racing?
I've never really looked into road racing. I just feel like it's really dangerous comparing to motocross because you're in the road. Whereas
Yeah, that's hilarious because I interviewed another family. It was Christian Daniel out of California. They live in Spain now, and his philosophy was he didn't want his son racing motocross because he thought it was too dangerous. So he's in road racing. So it's funny to hear you guys try to juxtapose each other. So okay, so that's never been like maybe a goal for you, or even to try it. Maybe a track day. Would you like to do a track day? Maybe.
yeah, of course I'm open to trying anything. I might even love it, so I can't really block it and say I'll never try it.
Now that's good for you. I think that's great. Honestly, that's what I feel about life. You should always try everything. If you don't like it, oh well. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let's get to the point now. And I know you had a really bad injury. You had it was a 100-foot jump, and I don't know if did you case it, whatever, and you got hurt and you hurt your hip. Tell me about that. Like what happened there?
So that one, it was actually like the first day of training after I finished my race in the United Kingdom. And I was so ready to get back on the bike. I was so excited. I was pumped, and I think I was too pumped.
Yeah.
And I went on the 100 foot jump, and I just cased it. I
Oh,
forgot to lean forward, and I was looking up in the sky throughout the whole jump. All my wheels were looking up in the sky, and I just landed on my hip. And I remember I couldn't even cry because it was way too painful. And even walking, I had to spend the whole day sitting down.
mm.
Walking was so difficult, and it only started to heal like completely heal like recently. There were even times where if I did an exercise too long or too hard, I would actually start to feel pain even up until now. So, but I'm just grateful that I didn't like completely break it. Maybe fractured it, but I'm just grateful that I didn't break it.
So it wasn't a break. It was just maybe a bad bruise, or so nothing broke. Nothing technically broke.
No.
Wow. Now, having something like that, was that your first time to have a really bad injury?
It was actually my second.
Okay. Now, when something like that happens, did it make you kind of go? Did it make you question going forward, or was it just something you said, okay, this is an injury, I'll get through it? Because sometimes, like everybody handles injuries different. Like you look at Mike Tyson after he got knocked out by Buster Douglas, he never really was the same fighter after that. And sometimes, with some guys, everybody takes an injury or something like that different. So how was it with you having that first major injury? How did you come back from that? Mentally, that is, mentally.
Yeah. Well, it did shake me up a lot, and even like the first few months when I got back on the track, every time I saw the jump, it actually took me a time to finally get back to what I was doing, and even mentally, so many jumps that I was now scared to jump, and it was something that we had to work through physically and mentally. And I wish I was one of those people who would just brush it off,
Right.
but to me, I handled it differently. And I wish that I was able to just overcome it really fast, but it's something that I'm now used to. I have to realize that that's part of the motocross. It's no matter what you do, you're still gonna get hurt. So yeah.
But how did you get over that mentally? Like, what helped you? Like, what made you? Cause, like you said, okay, you ride the track. Okay, I got to get over it. What made you go? Okay, boom, I'm over this.
I'm just looking at other writers and seeing what they go through. So many I love how motocross writers they also post their injuries, not just their wins. They also post their injuries. They show, oh, today I had a bad bruise. I'm gonna be staying in for 7 months. I broke my arm, and to even see that even after they post their injuries, they still go back on the track and they win championships. And to me, it was just like boost of motivation. And I just saw that if they can do it, I can do it as well.
Good for you. Now, as a father, so I don't know if you were there at the track, but as a father, how do you deal with that? Watching your daughter have her first major injury, and how did it make you feel? I mean, did you go, okay, maybe this is it, or okay, if she still wants to do it, I'll support her? But I mean, talk me through that. How do you deal with that as a parent?
Yeah, as a parent, but remember, at first when we started racing, I made sure that my wife stays at home because I knew the clashes and stuff. So I didn't want bad energy to be transferred to me, but obviously I knew about racing that there will be crashes anyway.
Yeah.
So, but remember, when she was 5 years, probably she would weigh maybe 80 kg. So if you prefer 80 kg, it won't break. You understand? Yeah. So, but as it falls, it gets tougher and tougher. So, when she falls, fine, I'll get hurt. But I knew it was part of what she's supposed to expect because remember, motocross is a way of life.
Wow, that's
So I
beautiful.
don't just get them to do more cross because of the trophies, but motocross is just quarter. There is the three quarters of what you should be doing alongside motocross. So as a way of life, you need all these things in life. Sometimes you face difficulties, you face, setbacks, you face, times where you need to cry and you are supposed to cry.
Yeah.
So
That's
I was just teaching the girl way of life. You understand? Although I wouldn't want to see crashing, but in motocross you have to crash. You understand?
yes.
You will crash one day. There are no two ways about that.
Yes.
But what we did was I also introduced later on a fitness trainer to then teach how when you fall, it's like in MotoGP. You see how those guys fall,
Yeah.
Rossi, Vinales, those World Championship guys. You need to have a technique to fall so that you don't fall in a way that you injure yourself.
Right.
But falling, you will fall. So I realized that day when she fell, she kind of drew back because she was scared.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to push her. I also wanted her to learn on her own so that I don't push her and say, you're supposed to do this. Although I put some pressure, just to make sure she's alert. But she has to understand herself, and I'm glad when even during interviews she talks about that, how she's healing, how she went through it herself, rather than for me to tell her how she should go through. Because remember, it's a way of life, it's how life is gonna be. I'm not gonna be there forever. But for the time being, I just need to lay the groundwork that when they face the world, which they are facing now, though we guide them, but when they face the world, it's a vicious world,
Yes, it is.
It doesn't take no prisoners. Yeah, so it's one of the lessons that probably they will say when I'm gone. They'll say our dad. That's what my dad taught me to be resilient, and we will go back. We made sure when she falls, we get her on the bike so that she doesn't get scared. She goes back, like what she was saying. It has been 2 years, intermittent times when she did have a bike. Yes, when we came here in 2018, we had a bike for that period, and then we went some other time with no bike. But Tanya's got other programs that she does. Besides motocross, she's got an orphanage that she adopted. She sends kids to school. She does some programs with sanitary pads for girls and all those things. So this falls into the three quarters of motocross, because motocross is just the sport.
Right.
But there is more to do outside of the sport, which is more important, because like now you see all these millennials, they are crazy. They are looking for social influencers. You understand? So it is about how we change and impact the society. This is what we need to direct our kids and emphasize that they should take those things. When she started to talk about helping kids going to school, getting them sanitary pads, all those things, I would not say no to that, because I will help her to focus on that. It's not just about the sport, but the sport is a vehicle. So do you understand? Yes, she should focus more on the sport, but she can also do other things.
And that's what I thought was, and I hate to cut you off, but that's what I thought was beautiful in that reading your story. Like I said, the initial was you in motorcycle, and I'm not gonna hide the fact that I thought it was great because I've never seen a woman of color in motocross, and that's what initially I was like, okay, great, and I was like, yes, I thought it was great because growing up the way, I can't speak for you, sir, but when I grew up, we didn't have social media, obviously, but I never saw a woman of color on a motorcycle, and I just didn't. So, and that's what initially said. I thought, oh, this is great. I think it's awesome. And then what really drove it home, what really hit me in the heart, what really hit my feeling was the fact of how socially active you are and what you do for your people. And that's and it leaves me going, I'm just in awe of what you do. Like you've sponsored the kids. They say you took your prize money, and correct me if I'm wrong, but not everybody can go to school where you're from, right? And especially females, right? They can't go to 12 years of school. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Okay, and what you did, you took your prize money, and the people that support you took that money to sponsor kids from your village to go to school.
Yes, that's true.
That is unbelievable. Just if you can just a little bit tell me how that came about. How was that? Was that all you, or you talked to your parents about it? I got to do something. What made you go? I got to help my people. I got to help my girls or my females. I mean, it's for one thing for people, period, for kids, but for you to have the presence of mind at such a young age to go, I got to help females have a better foot in life. Talk to me about that.
It all came back to when I wasn't riding for like when I had my periods of time where I wasn't riding. I know that it was really depressing and was so sad, but I also thought like I'm not the only one in this situation. There are other girls out there. There are other people out there who can't go to school. They might go to school for the first semester, and then the rest of their life they can't afford to go back to school. And it's not like school fees that is $1,000. This is like $7 that they can't afford, and even like not just school fees, but even food and shelter for them at home. So I thought, what is something that I can do to help? And I'm looking at myself, and I just realized that um, I can do something about it. So I talked to my parents about paying school fees for children, and I paid. At first, I paid for 45 kids, and then I made it into 100. And my initial goal is to pay 100 kids in each 10 is to pay for 50 kids in each 10 provinces in Zimbabwe. So,
That is beautiful. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I saw that. And that's what just really made me go, wow. I mean, first of all, it was like I said, it was a motocross. I love when a female goes into like a quote unquote male dominated sport and does her thing. But when you did that, I was like, wow. And you could be commended on that. And also the other social stance that you took. And I'm going to cheat here and go to your Instagram page, which I thought was great. When you, with the thing with the child bride, you said stop the child marriages. Like there's something I don't know about, and maybe you could elaborate on a little bit because I know nothing about that. That's why I'm ignorant to that. So is it something that's in Africa, the child brides, or what is that? Is that a cultural thing?
we would say that it's in Africa, but I'm actually starting to realize that it's almost everywhere. And I just think it's really sad that people would really take away someone's childhood, their teenagehood, just so that they could get married. And in Africa, for us, when they have a girl child, they don't even bother to send them to school. They just need to train them to know how to cook and to clean for their husbands. And at the age of 12 or 14, they could be married and have a child or two. Because when in Africa, when someone gets married, they get cows, they get a herd of cows, they can get money, and it's kind of like selling their child. And
Wow.
I just think it's really sad and painful that someone my age actually has kids and is married instead of focusing on their education, focusing on investing in their future and their life. And I just think it's really, really sad that they're going through that.
Does it make you really appreciate your father and your mother and father? I mean, I know it sounds, and you know what? Honestly, when I was your age, I probably wouldn't even have thought that I was, I don't know, a rebel, but I just never thought to appreciate my parents now. But the older I get, the more I go, my God, how lucky was I to have people like that? And for you, do you realize how awesome of your of parents you have, especially, and no disrespect to your mom, but for what your dad has done, like he said, for what he went through to put his daughter on a racetrack, and him to get the blowback from the men because his daughter was beating the boys and saying it was wrong, but he still pushed you to be the person you are today and to give back to your community. Do you realize how great of a parent you have? Do you realize that?
Yes, I do, and I'm forever grateful for it.
I tell you, man, it just brings tears to my. It really does. I read the story, and now that I'm talking to you, I'm almost speechless. I I really am. I love what you guys are doing. I love what your dad has done, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And I can't overemphasize just the fact that being at your age at 16 and being a social justice warrior. You know, like I saw you said, you know, you even have, and I didn't realize this. This is my ignorance. I didn't realize you had a police brutality in Zimbabwe, and you're fighting against that. I mean, here, I think here we want to more like it's a police thing. It's more like a white black thing, but it's more of a power thing. Like, how is it? What's the problem with police brutality in Zimbabwe as opposed to here?
Well, in Zimbabwe, I think it's even worse because in Zimbabwe we can't even talk about it. Even to put a simple post, you'd actually fear for your life. And I feel like in the United States it's even better because we can talk about it on the radio, we can talk about it on the TV. Unlike in Zimbabwe, if you open news stations, radio channels, you can't even hear about what they're talking about and what is going on. It's all by like ghost accounts who actually spread awareness about it. And I just really think that it's sad because we're all suffering in the economy. No one is better than anyone. And it's all an economy, because even like comparing like back then from the 10 years and now, a lot of people have lost their jobs, a lot of people are not going to school, and on top of that, the police people, they're against the people instead of with the people to fight against this corruption. And because they get paid like maybe $100 to beat people up in the streets, and it's just sad to see someone's mother being beaten up for no reason. So
Wow. Man, I can't imagine. And props to you. And I loved how you called out, and I don't know if you met him or not. You called out Oprah and you called out Lewis Hamilton. Did you get a chance to meet Lewis Hamilton?
no, not yet.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I mean, he spurned a lot. He spurned me, and I don't know if you know Franco in MotoGP. He's one of the only guys of color there. He's the only guy that kneeled in MotoGP. And so I interviewed him a couple of interviews ago, and I think Lewis is really starting, along with yourself, you know, which I think people could say you can protest against it, and it's not bad. It's not like it's not like we're like down with society. It's like we just want to change. We want more of an equal footing, and I think it's beautiful how you do it because it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I love how you're doing it. It's a thoughtful way. It's I personally think it's the right way. You know, it's like it's not busting windows. It's like, hey, let's have a dialogue. Let's change things, but for the better, and we can all prosper in society the right way. And I think that's beautiful. So props to you for that. And before we get out of here, I have about 5 minutes. By the way, my studio is great. It's on the main street in Indianapolis, so people walk by, they hear us, so they wave, and I think it's great. If you ever come to Indianapolis, I want to see you. If you ever come to Indianapolis, I want to see you in my studio so you can see the people. I want them to see you. I want to have you in the studio and your father. I want you and your father in the studio because I want to interview you face to face because I am just enamored by what you're doing. So now that you're living in the United States, I want to ask you just some fun things. What do you like about when you first moved here? What do you like about the United States? What are the likes and dislikes? Like, what do you like about this country?
What I like about the United States is that I think it's kind of like a personal thing. People don't really judge you. I could go out wearing a green top, an orange pants, lime green shoes, and no one would really pay attention to me. And like comparing in Africa, everyone, all eyes are on you, and that's something that I like. That people have the freedom to express themselves, whether it's from their hair, their makeup, their dressing, their cars. There's just so many varieties of things going on, and it's something that I don't like is the police brutality.
Yes, yes.
Myself being because I'm a person of color and the racism, but I feel like it's something that we're gonna overcome sooner or later.
That's beautiful. Okay, and now I'm gonna ask. I don't know if you want to answer this in front of your dad, but do you have a boyfriend?
No.
Okay, Dad's gonna keep it that way. Hopefully, Dad's gonna keep it that way. If he doesn't, I'm gonna make sure you don't. I'm gonna look on your social media, and if you do, I'm gonna make sure you don't. So, Dad, if you wanna do it, I'll do it. We'll make sure you keep your eye on that motorcycle.
You are the prefect because there's much more better things to look at. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Before you engage, because having a boyfriend, it's a process where you want to get married. If you are not wanting to get married, why do you get into a car if you don't want to drive it? You know what I'm saying? You can't just get a car and sit in the car.
That is great, man. Okay. So when I want the big question is when you're gonna start racing again? When are you gonna start racing? I know with COVID, everything's all thrown in the air, but when are you getting on the track and when are you gonna start smoking these boys around the track and showing them what Miss Muzinda can do?
Well, I was actually last on the track on my birthday weekend, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
I couldn't go this weekend because of the Labor Day and it's a public holiday, but hopefully, I think this weekend I'll be back on the track and we're just trying the best that we can to be training every single week to catch up on everything that I've missed.
And what's your bike? Who sponsors you? Like, are you Yamaha, Honda? What is it?
Am I
No, we are self-sponsored. Yeah, we're still sponsoring ourselves. Yes, we've got gear that we get through Steffi,
Okay.
like from Alpha Stars, the helmet, and the bike. Obviously, the bike was bought by another media company, it's a US media company,
Okay.
so that I can use it, in the duration of the racing. Yeah, but we're still working out to have, like a real sponsor. Not that we don't have sponsors, but most of them are donations.
Okay.
So hopefully now that he's in the US, that's the program that we doing safely now, putting up a package where we can actually then exchange the values, so that whoever invest in Tanya's career can actually also get a return of investment. So we're treating it as a business. So that is basically what we are doing. So hopefully in a few months, we'll start to have those people coming on board, and then we can really talk about sponsorship. Yeah.
Good. That's good.
But for now, it's just self sponsoring.
And when you do, I want to send you some Sour Patch Kids because Stephanie told me that's what you like is Sour Patch Kids. So I'm going to send you some Sour Patch Kids. I know she sent that to you for your birthday. And she told me, she said she loves Sour Patch Kids. So she sent you 2 pounds of candy for your birthday. So that's a lot of Sour Patch Kids. So you eat those in increments now because you got to stay in shape to race motocross, okay? So and I can't wait to watch you in person. So I look forward to watching you in person. And I know we talked about, is there anything you want to plug before we get out of here? I know your social media, which is, hold on, I'm going to make sure I get it right. I know your social media is Tanya, for Instagram is, how do you say it?
Tanya Muzinda.
Yeah, well, you say it.
Okay, my social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and YouTube are all Tanya Muzinda.
Okay. I'm glad you said it. I'm going to make sure you said it. And I mean, everything you've done, like I said, you were the youngest EU sports ambassador in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
That's everything you've done, everything you touch is turned to gold. And I mean, the sky is the limit for you. Before we get here, what's your goals in the next 5 years? Where do you want to be? The next 5 years, where do you want to be, Tanya?
In the next 5 years, it's been my dream since I was 9, and it's to be the first ever person of color to win in the women's world championship. I just want to be a role model for other young girls there who are black or even not even black, just anyone out there that anything is possible, no matter what your background is, whether you're from Africa, whether you're from a struggling country. If you believe in yourself and you put your mind to it, anything is possible.
Ah, that's beautiful. That's great. That's a great way to wrap it up. And I mean it from the bottom heart. Like I said, thank you so much for taking time. Like I said, you didn't know me, and I know it was like, who is this guy? So thank you very much. And tell your dad, thank you so much for trusting me. I appreciate I appreciate you, sir, and everything you've done for your daughter. She is a wonderful young lady. Thank you so much for her. And Tanya, good luck in racing. You got another fan here. I'm going to follow you all the way, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Get to school, get your school work, and no more Sour Patch Kids, okay?
Hey, thank you.
Hey, and remember, peanut butter and jelly, toasted bread, and then syrup on it.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
And that was honestly, I'm like, wow. I mean, seriously, wow. I feel like going out and doing a march and honestly going up to the governor's house and I don't want to run for president, but doing something like that. She was very inspired. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. That's it for Tales from a Gemini. If you guys want to contact me, hit me up on my social media, DM me. If you guys have some guests you guys want me here to talk about, I would gladly try to get them on and we can talk about it. Anybody, it don't have to be inspiring, it doesn't have to be motorsports, anybody. So just give me a hit like you guys have been doing. Thank you so much for the message I have been getting. I appreciate that, and I will continue to do the best I can for you guys. So until next time, BT saying, you know the word, bye.